You're listening to Parasearch Radio, news, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio. Parasearch Radio, broadcasting to the UK and beyond.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. You're listening to Kerry Greenaway and Mark Manley on the Dark Mirror Paranormal Show, only on Parasearch Radio.
Good evening and welcome to the Dark Mirror Paranormal Show on your Friday night. My name is Kerry Greenaway and I'm joined in the studio by the lovely Marcus Manlius. Good evening, Marcus.
I don't know. And good evening to you too.
And the lovely Carl Hutchinson.
Good evening.
I've got one thing for Carl. Carl and I were talking the other day, and he likes my aliens. So for Carl and for Gemma and for you, aliens. There you go. All right.
I can't believe you talked over my intro.
Carl, good evening. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. I'm not going to put on a fake Scottish accent because I don't need to.
And Gemma. Gemma's in the house as well. Good evening, Gemma, and how are you?
Good evening, beautiful. How are you?
I'm fine.
Very leopard printish.
I'm not even going to do Scottish either because nobody would thank me for it. It's safe to say.
Mate,
no,
I think we should all have a go at the Scottish accent. Just to
right, so Kerry,
small and Scottish with a hell of a temper. One of the Knack MacFeagle.
No comment.
Imagine your deep fried haggis.
Aliens.
No, not a deep fried alien. No.
Oh my God. Oh dear.
That as you mean to go on and all that, eh?
Right. So it is Why are we all going Scottish? I hear you ask out there.
Why are we all going Scottish?
Oh gosh. It is Burns night, everybody.
And I must say, everybody out there listening, or not listening, or is listening, I don't know. What you can't see is Mr. Carl here is actually dressed up in the full Monty. He's got his kilt and a shirt and a waistcoat on, and I'm hoping a set of pants on underneath the kilt, because, trust me, I don't want to see his haggis. All right?
Well, we might find out later. Right, Jim?
Right.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to see these things just suddenly like dirty grandpa and just knock the camera over.
Everybody at home could not see this, but Carl is waving his sporanottles.
Oh my God, yes he is. Look at that. Hey, don't spin around too quickly, mate. All right?
He's waving his sporanottles. There you go. There's my attempt at a Scottish accent, everybody. Okay, so what is Burns night? I mean, we're all in high spirits, shall I say? High spirits. And we're in high spirits. What is Burns night? So, what do we know about Burns night? I mean, it is a huge, huge holiday in Scotland.
It is a celebration of the life and work of the Scottish poet, Robbie Burns.
Robbie Burns.
It is also celebrated on his birthday, which is today, or January the 25th anyway. Excuse me, which is today. And the first Burns night was actually held by his friends on July the 21st, 1801, the 5th anniversary of the poet's death.
Well, I have to give a shout out at this point because Robert Burns wasn't the only person to be born today. My sister was born today, so that's why we're late, because I've been out celebrating my sister's
she got any
birthday.
sausage dinner?
No, none at all.
Would she like some?
We have a bit of the Irish, and we
yes,
have.
so you're one of mine. You're one of me there, are you?
Oh yeah, strangely enough, I've got a fair amount of Irish in me. I have a little Welsh, a tiny incy-wincy thread of Welsh running through me, believe it or not, and a hell of a lot of Yorkshire.
Yorkshire?
Yorkshire.
You should be up here with us.
She should be up here.
I should be, but... So what is... No, I want to talk about Robert Burns.
Let's look at that. Oh.
Talk about
come
Robert...
on.
Well, Robert Burns.
Love.
Right, well, anyway, he was born today in 1759, and he was a poet, basically, and became a poet laureate for Scotland. Now, I think we all know the old Robert Burns for Auld Lang Syne.
Yep.
Auld Lang Syne, that's right.
He's most famous for that one, guys. Do we all know the words to Auld Lang Syne?
No, but if you go on iTunes, you can bring up the lyrics. So who needs to actually know the words?
Off you go then, Jim.
Hang
You
on.
open it up.
Yeah, it's fine. Look, are you ready for this? Are you ready,
Go on.
look?
Yeah,
Not a problem. I'm just looking it up now on the old Facebooky thingy.
Hello, this well-prepared show, everybody. Words to Auld Lang Syne.
If you'd have told me that I was going to be singing, then I'd have
For
been
all
prepared.
forsaken be forgot.
I can say it in a Scottish accent.
Can you hear it?
Yeah,
Come on then.
There we go.
Oh, dear.
Technically
That was
speaking,
the
that's
lyric about
going...
Daisy.
I would say, do I look like a performing monkey? But yeah.
Okay, well, let's get a little bit serious in the house now. Let's have a little look at Robert Burns, because he is an absolutely fascinating character in his own right. However, he's not actually paranormal. I'd just like to point this out. We're actually talking about a non-paranormal topic tonight for a part of it, anyway, until we get silly and start talking paranormal. Anyway, it's a celebration.
I'm sorry. We are
We're professional people, I'll have you know.
radio show. We are, yes, professional broadcasters, and nobody ever gets drunk or silly or shouts out aliens or makes any derogatory remarks or any funny remarks or says anything about nipples or anything like that. So, come on, put yourself together, love.
But swiftly going back to old Robert Burns, bless him, he died really young, didn't he? He was 37 when he died.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he did father 12 children, bless him, so, that's probably why.
Yeah, after the night I've just had, I can understand why he died so young.
And moving swiftly on.
Okay, so tonight, Burns Night, is the annual celebration of the life and works of Robert Burns. And as we've said before, it is his birthday. Now, it was actually first celebrated by his mates. This was like this is the kind of birthday I want, guys. I'm just going to say, I want it to be Greenaway night on my birthday. I want it to become a national holiday.
Location? Have you got a specific location? Because Robert Burns' friends was in the Burns Club and Mary King's Close. So have you got a specific place that you'd like us to celebrate Greenaway Day?
Well, I think Greenaway Day should be held somewhere that's very, very spirit orientated, shall we say?
Pub?
What, the bar?
Pub, yeah, a pub. Pub would be good. Any old pub will do. I think every pub in the whole nation should be called
Jamaica Inn.
Greenaway Day. Carl.
Yes.
Hello, darling.
Hello.
You've been very quiet so far.
Well, with these two, you can't get a word in edgeways most of the time.
I know, right? So where would you have your birthday? Where would the Hutchinson birthday be? Day, to celebrate you. National holiday.
I'd probably say Lynchburg, Tennessee.
I knew it! I knew you were going to say that! I just had that in my head and I thought, he's going to say Tennessee.
Lynchburg, Tennessee, the home of Jack Daniels. Man after my own heart.
Hold your horses.
I'll be joining you.
Yeah. Yeah, good old Lynchburg. Lynchburg, Tennessee.
Is that the home of Jack Daniels by the remote chance?
Yeah, it's where the sour mash whiskey is made, distilled, bottled in Lynchburg, Tennessee. And it is the holy grail for anybody that likes Jack Daniels. It's not a bourbon. Everybody thinks it's a bourbon, but it's not. It's a sour mash. And I have been lucky to go to the place. And it's an amazing tour, and you get to drink quite a lot of lovely Jack Daniels.
I'm jealous now. I'm jealous now.
So, yeah, I would probably say it's either there or the 18th at Augusta.
Ah. So, Mark, where would your national holiday be?
Chinese truffle. I don't know. Anywhere where all my friends are and we can just have lots and lots of drink and there's some loud music and there's some dark corners where people can go and hide and generally have lots and lots of fun and then wake up the next morning and go, oh my God, I did what? So pretty much like a night round yours.
Oh, yeah, true. Gemma?
Oh, I think I would have to go somewhere haunted.
Ooh.
Any old haunted location.
Yeah, it'd be a paranormal investigation kind of night, would it?
With a difference, yeah, because it is Gemma Day, so there's going to have to be alcohol, which is usually a no-no on an investigation.
It'd be gin. The spirit of your choice would be gin, wouldn't it?
Well, actually, speaking of gin, cheers.
Cheers. So anyway, old Robert Burns, let's go back to Robert, who's got a whole day celebrated for him. He was born today, as we've said several times, in 1759 in Alloway, which is just outside of Ayr. Now, both of his parents were farmers, and which is a bit weird considering he became basically a poet laureate for Scotland, right?
And there was no TV back then, so he had 12 kids.
Because that particular area, that particular time where he was born, there wasn't really much industry there anyway, so majority of the people were born either farmers and people that worked the land.
Lots of sheep.
So he had the soul of a poet.
But
what I
don't understand is parents were farmers.
Uh-huh.
How did he learn his subjects in Latin and French? Because
they must have been quite well-to-do farmers. They must have done quite well to afford a tutor.
Well, he was tutored and schooled in Latin, French and maths in particular, which for Scotland back then, especially farmers, are very unusual.
That's what I mean, yeah. It's not your average, is it?
No, it's definitely not your average. And the fact that, like I say, he had 12 children as well, so that means he didn't turn out like a lot of the poet laureates who, quite frankly, had frilly hankies and went to lots of debauched parties. He didn't. So, he did well for himself.
Yeah. And to have that amount of kids by the age of 37 before he died, little Randy little so-and-so, I would say, as well.
Well, very busy,
and that's
obviously.
why he died.
Yeah.
They
didn't have TVs or films or Netflix, so they had to do something, I suppose.
Not even
They
Netflix.
didn't have Netflix and chill, did they? They had right poetry and maybe have a bit.
Yeah.
Well, he must have been we talk about the soul of a poet. He must have definitely embraced that side because he had quite a reputation with the ladies, didn't he?
Evidently, he was a big boy, yeah.
Now, he actually had 12 children, 8 with his wife, and 4 children with other women.
Have you seen his wife's name?
Yeah, I can't say it. Jean.
Well, I think it's a mistype because it says Jean Armour. I reckon it's Jean Amour.
That's what I would say, Jean Amour.
No, not in Scotland.
Jean Amour. Jean Amour.
Terry, what on earth was that?
I have no idea.
It'll be Jean Armour.
Jean
In Essex, In Essex, it's Jean Armour. All right,
Jean Armour.
That's all right, Cal. All right. Can you imagine him standing on his back doorstep calling out her name in a Scottish accent, and when he got to the last R in armour or amour, he'd be there for 10 minutes.
I can't do the Scottish accent. I apologise to all the Scottish people that might listen to this show.
One of
They're not taking any offence. They're not taking any offence. They don't have small, tiny egos or anything like that. So they won't.
So he is thought to have had 900 descendants.
Oh, is that all?
900 descendants from Robert
not
Burns.
Many at all, then.
Out of these, 12 children he fathered.
Wow.
But
900 descendants.
It's quite sad because he was buried on July the 25th, which was the day his son Maxwell was born.
That's right. And they never got to see him.
That's actually a bit sad, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's
but
not
he's had
something you could
12, so he's seen
imagine.
them before.
Oh. He had 11 others.
He's a baby in those days, wasn't it? You either fathered them, you either ate them, or you just kicked them.
No, that's the Sawney Beans. That's the Sawney Beans.
I mean, would men have even been allowed in the birthing room at that time anyway?
Would they have had a birthing room?
Well, no, it'd have just been wherever, wouldn't it?
It would have been a shed.
A shed, yeah, stable.
It would probably have been outside on the grass. There you go, drop it. There we go. Let's get
In a
back.
field.
Yeah, get back into the bedroom.
What, are you not?
Number
Are you not going to muck the animals out first before you pop back in the bedroom?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Let's continue rather than down this particular train of thought. Jesus, I've left them alone far too long before I came on the show. Clearly, right.
Somebody's been enjoying certain spirits from about
Maybe about 3
4
o'clock.
o'clock. 3 o'clock.
I haven't. I've been good tonight.
Just saying. Well, we were all well. Some of us were at work. Somebody was caning the living daylights out of gin.
Oh my God. So anyway,
I told you about doing that before, love. You can't do
I
that on
know.
a Friday.
I'm so sorry. I do apologise,
Shocking.
everybody. I do apologise. I don't drink gin. I would just like to point that out. However, copious
she
amounts of
guzzled
wine
it
and
instead.
vodka have been consumed in the making of this programme. Anyway, Tom O'Shanter is an old Scottish legend that was later turned into a narrative.
Gentlemen,
A narrative.
Oh, it's all going horribly wrong already. A narrative poem by Robert Burns. Now, in the original tale, after a long day at the market, a farmer from Carrick stays drinking. I have no idea why they think this is acceptable. Until the witching hour.
Shocking.
The witching hour, by the way, is the hour between night and day. So whatever time that hits is the witching hour, not midnight to 1 o'clock. This is like sort of like
In Scotland, that could be any time really, because it gets dark very quickly.
Exactly. So between night and then when day breaks.
It's like Yorkshire, really, isn't it? Oh,
It is,
stop it.
yeah.
Let's have a drink.
And he rides his horse home. It's got to be a lady horse, a mare. His course takes him past the haunted
So many jokes there.
Alloway Kirk Church. And through the brightly lit church windows, he sees witches dancing and the devil himself playing the bagpipes. Now, one young witch in particular is dancing in a short undergarment and so impresses the farmer with her little short skirt that he shouts, Mark,
Go on, then.
Oh, this should be good.
Mark!
Hey, look what Maggie weird a short sock. There you go.
And then he has to flee for his life as the witches and warlocks give him chase. He makes for the bridge over the River Doon, knowing that the fiendish creatures cannot cross running water. And as Burns himself wrote, I need not mention the universally known fact that no diabolical power can pursue you beyond the middle of a running stream. Now, despite the horse being fast, by the time he reaches the middle of the arc of the bridge, the pursuing hags were so close at his heels that one of them actually springs to seize him, but only manages to grip the horse's tail. Now, according to Burns in his letter to his friend Francis Gross, he immediately gave way to her infernal grip as if blasted by a stroke of lightning, and the poor horse's tail never regrew. Now, Mark,
I'll tell you what,
continue the tale.
If she had a grip like that, you wouldn't want to go on a date with her, would you? Anyway. Right. Do you want me? What did you want me to do? Talk about the
Carry
tale?
on.
Actually,
No, I want you to talk about Burns using this legend.
one other thing. Did you know that Tam O'Shanter is also a hat?
Yes.
It's a Scottish hat. He uses this legend as a basis to craft a wonderful poem about a man called Tam O'Shanter, who never takes the advice of his wife Kate. Please note I'm speaking in an Edinburgh accent. He stays out all hours, drinking his life away until one poor night Tam has to flee for his life from witches. Gathered to dance to the devil's bagpipes, at the old kirk in Alloway. In the poem, Burns changes the witch's name to Nanny Dee, and instead of mentioning the short sack, Tam instead calls out, "Well done, Cutty Sack!" Cutty Sack being the old local name for short undergarment or petticoat. The poem is populated by several unforgettable characters besides Tam himself. There is his drinking pal, Suter Johnny, Tam's long-suffering wife, Kate, the young witch, Nanny or Cutty Sark, and Tom's gallant horse, Maggie, who used to be a boy horse, and the witch, when she reached out and grabbed a tail, found out it wasn't a tail, it was actually something else, and it never grew back.
God.
Hence,
Oh, my God.
now is a mare. And Tam O'Shanter is a poem that encompasses humour, horror, and social comment, as the unsightly, tailless condition of poor Maggie serves as an awful reminder to the Carrick farmers not to stay out late drinking in Ayrshire. Written in 1870, it is one of Robbie Burns.
You've just turned slightly German then.
It's a little scary. I would just like to say that. He's telling of this bit. It's like a little scary.
Yeah, he's turned into a bit of a German then.
Well, we have it. This is one of Burns' finest poems, yeah. And his own favourite poem, vivid and incentive. It turned a little-known tale of the witches into an epic narrative. Love the world.
Okay, so if we can pick the bones out of that. God, everybody. So the young witch, Nanny, or the Cutty Sark. Now, there's a famous ship called the Cutty Sark, isn't there?
Yeah.
What's the... Go on then, tell me.
Well, it's a tea clipper.
And?
It's called the Cutty Sark, and it's in Greenwich, and it burned down a little while ago, and they've rebuilt it into a museum, and the London Marathon runs around it. And it was
the one that's on the South Bank in London.
It set the fastest. Trying to remember now. It set some between two places. It set the fastest record for the cruise. Not the cruise, but the saily thing.
It used to be in Southend.
What, the Cutty Sark?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the Cutty Sark... How long ago were you talking about?
Not that far back. It is now on the south bank of the River Thames in London.
Yeah, it's called Greenwich.
It's not.
Yeah, it is, because I drove past it 2 days ago.
All right.
Gemma,
If you want to be like pedantic about it,
Yeah,
you know, and everything like that.
She ceased to be useful as a cadet ship and was transferred to the permanent dry dock at Greenwich.
Greenwich?
Greenwich.
Speak English and pronounce words properly.
You'll be saying Alpaca Mountains next.
I live in Grimsby, love. You've got no chance of me pronouncing words correctly.
Oh, you're from Dracula
The point
country.
is, was she named after this bloody witch or not? It's where I'm going with this thought pattern.
Well, when you consider what Cutty Sark actually means, you know, so they named a ship after a young lady's nether garments. Well,
But then that's quite appropriate because most ships have a woman's bust on the front of them in those days.
back
The
then,
ship behind it is probably the undergarments.
I mean, the Navy used to have ladies on board anyway. And to be absolutely honest, if you had ladies' boobies on the fronts of ships, did that really hurt? I mean, did it hurt to put them on there? I mean, what did the ladies mind? Or what? And were they big ladies? I mean, if you had them on
Are
the
you
front of ships...
talking about the figureheads that they used to put on the front of ships?
Yeah, somehow thinking about nailing proper boobies to front.
Yeah.
It's like it's gone off on a right tangent, Marky.
I was just thinking, would it hurt? Well, I'm pretty sure just a wild stab in the dark, right, that if somebody was to come along, slice them off, I'm pretty sure that would hurt just a little bit.
Just nail them to the ship with the person attached to it. Then you'd have the figurehead and everything, and you'd have like a Yorkshire lass going, "God's sake!" all the way across the sea.
Darling,
they
I'm
were
Lincolnshire.
I thought they were like supposed to be good luck things, like
they
to
are.
see their way forward through the waves.
The figurehead basically is a good luck for the ship. That's why all ships are female.
Isn't that only when it's painted on though, as opposed to an actual female being pinned?
I think it's carved, Gemma, not just like
that have had a proper female nailed to the front of it by their boobies.
I'm pretty sure that never happened in history. I'm pretty damn sure. I'm sure it was always carved, and I'm sure it was just a good luck omen for the ship, and that's why ships are females, which is one of the reasons why you should never have another female on the ship, because of territorial rights by the figurehead, right?
Yep.
Tell me something. If like ships back then had the figurehead of a woman's bust, it was the head and like the body on the front of the ship, and that's like the female half. Why didn't you have a male half and like the back of the ship just had like, I don't know, say two massive floats hanging at the back of the ship as it went through?
Gravity might weigh it down.
Yeah. I think there might
like that.
I think, yeah. Anyway, did Tom O'Shanter really exist? Is the question in the house. Gemma. Did he really? Do I dare ask? I think is the question on this.
Ask me.
Did he actually exist, honey?
I mean, who are we to say whether or not he did or didn't exist? I mean, at the end of the day, it was a fictional poem, so
based on somebody.
It was actually, it was based on somebody.
Yeah, based,
Mark,
but it's not factual.
Did you give her the research?
Have I lost you?
No.
He was.
My laptop's just gone funny. No, it was based on somebody, but where is it actually written that it is factual?
Well, I have to say, the guy that it's based on, Douglas Graham of Shanta Farm. Sorry, Mark's writing.
Was he called Shatter?
My writing, it's typed.
I was just going to say, I'm sure that was sent on an email.
No, but he actually had a reputation for getting very drunk on market days. Well, obviously, because he got a lot of money in his pocket, so he'd go and get a bit drunk. And he supplied his cousins in with barley. Now, obviously, the barley would help make alcohol, and funnily enough, it was at this particular inn that he would drink, which I would imagine, being as he provided the barley, his mate or his cousin kind of went, "Hey, on the house for you, mate." And his friend John Davidson,
with a very strange Australian accent, yes.
Mm-hmm. Now, Douglas Graham actually became Tom O'Shanter, and John Davidson became Scatter Johnny.
Suitor.
Douglas Graham lost his bonnet one night.
Oh, we're all at it
Did
tonight.
men wear bonnets?
Yeah, that's what the Tam O'Shanter is, a type of.
Yeah, the thing is, you're thinking of a bonnet as in
a female
a
bonnet.
female bonnet, but in Scotland,
They wore bonnets.
when you wear that type of hat, it's called a bonnet.
Oh, right.
They didn't wear a vet collar, They wore an actual hat.
Yeah.
Well, he used to hide his takings in said bonnet, right, in the lining, and he kind of like lost them one night. And he explained to his wife, because she was like obviously sitting at home waiting for the takings, that he was delayed by the sight of witches dancing about the kirk. I can imagine how this woman reacted to this one.
Well, exactly. You see, as you would just think. So what you mean is you've been down the pub, you've spent the money, and now you're making up a story, coming home and trying to fob me off.
And basically what you've done is lost the takings, right?
With a lot of swearing, probably missed out of that one.
I would say so.
Ladies would never swear in that day, darling.
Ladies
Ladies in the house.
I love you guys to bits, but there's no way I'm ever going to call you ladies.
We wasn't talking about us, sweetheart.
And the chat room is talking German after Mark's rendition of Scottish, is all I'm saying, I think.
Well, see, Rabbi Burns should be spoken like this, yeah? Should he be German, yeah?
I think the
should be
Scottish
a
might be a
German.
little offended by the German take on the Tam O'Shanter.
I think that Robbie Burns should actually make an excellent German army officer in, like, I don't know, David Jackal or something like that, or Inglorious What's-Its, you know? And he'd be, oh, yeah, you think we are joking there, sir? Oh, kill him! You know?
Okay. Well, anyway, his wife, the old Tom O'Shanter, Aka Douglas Graham, was very distrustful of her husband, strangely enough. I don't understand why. I mean, come on.
If you're going to do a story where you're drunk and you lost something, you're not really going to say about losing it to 3 women.
With a
You're
bit
going
on
to come
the,
up
on the
with something
bonus,
a little bit
Cal.
more. Just
They didn't have a lot of clothes on. They got me busy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, why'd you lose that? Well, there was these 3 women, right, sleep in the garden.
Doghouse, off you go. But the other side to the tale, from the men of Ayr, is that they're saying that he was inside getting drunk, and then he actually snipped off the mare's tail, and elaborated this weird, wonderful, wacky story.
How drunk was Douglas Graham? How drunk was he?
Scale of 1 to 10, 78.
Yeah, but you've got to remember back then, well, the stuff that they were drinking would take paint off walls.
True. Fair point.
It's not like the stuff that we drink nowadays. We're talking serious gut rot, and that's probably reason why a lot of people back in those days didn't live until those sort of ages.
And probably why they were all so skinny, to be fair.
Well, I'm with you.
Shutting it out and drinking it out.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean...
So anyway, bringing it into the modern times, let's have a look at some of the locations in good old Bonnie, Scotland. Now, we know that the Burns Club was founded in the Burns Club, yeah, that's right, was founded in Mary King's Close, which is in Edinburgh.
And it's an amazing place.
Have you been, Carl?
I have indeed.
And what did you think of it?
Well, first of all, the thing that strikes me is what they've done is Mary King's Close and the other closes, the famous ones. What they've done is that's on street level. And as the city progressed, instead of just knocking them down, they built on top of them. So they then became an underground
So it was
place.
bricked
So
up.
when you go there, it's actually technically it's actually underground because the city has built up and built up and built up. And it's quite weird because you go into it and the main road that goes through it still cobbles, and you've still got the buildings with the window, not the windows in. Some are obviously been redone how it would have looked at the time. But yeah, it's all underground. It's a very, very.
I'd like to go there and have a look at that, actually.
Yeah, it's very because you go into it. What they've done, they've built up tenements, which is like tenement blocks, and then buildings and houses. So as they built up, they just basically built on top of these things.
When you think, though, that Mary King's Close, a lot of people suffering from a plague were there. So the
initially that wasn't the reason, because a lot of it, when they started doing it, a lot of the people that lived there stayed there. So they then became people that dwelled there. So that's where they slept, and then they came out to work, and then went back to it. And then they had their own thriving industries that were there, with living accommodation. So it was still being quite active down there. There was like shops. There was like some people where you could drink, where all these sort of different things. And then over the years, obviously, people died off. And I'm not living down in a hole. I'm going to live out in the sunlight and all this sort of stuff.
Is that right about the walls down there? Some of the walls
made of ash.
being made of human ash, yeah, from the plague.
Yeah, because a lot of them, when there was the plague, a lot of them, obviously, there's the famous stories about Burke and Hyde.
That's right.
Birkenhead.
Birkenhead.
Not Birkenhead. Not even
Birkenhead.
Different place. That's in Liverpool.
Wrong direction.
Folks. Very funny. But yeah, no, the Burke. They were all down there, and that's where they were supposed to frequent and do their deals and pinching bodies and taking bodies down there and all that sort of stuff.
Very unsavoury.
Well, if you want to know more, Penny actually did a show on Mary King's Close on Haunted Histories. So you'll get to hear all the ins and outs of Mary King's Close. And thoroughly interesting it was too. Anyway, Glamis Castle in Angus. Now, I know Glamis, or Glamis, as we would say in the UK. Glamis Castle is famous for Izzy Macbeth as well.
Yeah, but one of the modern day things about Glamis Castle is it used to be the home to the Queen Mother.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so she died a little while ago, love.
Yeah, I missed that.
I like the story about I like the legend about Glamis Castle, about the walled up room.
Mm. It's another place I have been to, and it is amazing. And I'd love to be able to investigate it, but you can't.
Is it what is it then? How did you get there?
You can do day tours.
Oh, so you can't it's not like a hotel now.
No. It's still. I think if I remember rightly, I think it's still owned by the royal family.
Oh. Mark, tell me about Glamis.
Oh, right. Hang on. Where were we?
Or Glamis.
Yeah, there's supposed to be a secret room that was bricked up years and years and years, hundreds of years ago. And inside this room supposedly sits still the Earl of Crawford, who is forever locked in a game of cards with Satan himself. And also, just a little side note here, the Crawfords I'm related to. That would explain so much. Yeah. My line, I can trace my ancestors back to the 9th century to a Viking called Thorkell the Tall. And I'm sure
No, we've had this discussion before, trust me. Mark got super caned on this one. What was his name again?
Thorkell the Tall.
He's a tool.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember this other tool guy?
Because we was always like, tool.
Is it a tool or is it a tool? He didn't like it. Just like to say everybody, he wasn't happy.
Still doesn't.
I was always sceptical about
forever,
it.
every time he mentions it, we have to bring it up now.
Well, anyway, he was a mercenary. He was a mercenary. Shut up. For Bonnie Prince Charlie, and Bonnie Prince Charlie gave him some land, which he in turn gave to, was it William Wallace or Rob Roy? One of them, and then they turned it into a place called Crawford Land. And the two main Crawford brothers had a spat and split, but the only way they were split is if they changed the spelling of the name. So one of them spelt the normal way, and one of them spelt it with a U. And my family came from the branch that went off with the U. So there you go.
Anyway, back to Glamis Castle.
So, isn't there meant to be a spirit of a white lady that was imprisoned for years before being buried? Burned at the stake, even, not buried.
That wouldn't surprise me. Back then, you know yourselves, when you had the assizes and everything going on, people would just accuse of witchcraft purely because the ones accusing them were getting money. So that wouldn't surprise me at all. Most castles have got a legend of a white or a grey lady, something to do with that.
That is one thing that always bothers me, though. Why are these ladies always white or grey?
Because most people will see their breath and presume it's a spirit, and a breath looks white. So
also, they didn't use vanished gold on their dresses. That's why.
No.
Vanished gold.
Oh my God! Do I have to educate you all? Right. Okay. Let me just. The legend of the White Lady is usually elemental, in fact, and usually linked to waterways and protection and guardians of waterways. So when you see a white lady, it usually links to something like that, not to witches burned at Tootstick and stuff like that. They're usually linked to protection of the land and area that they are in. But
why does 90% of haunted locations have a white lady?
Because when you... Go on then, Carl.
Well, no, it's down to misrepresentation of what you actually see.
Thank you.
And most people believe, okay, they see something. It could be a mist, it could be environmental, whatever, ground, like steam coming up. You see it, you're going to see the colours, you're going to see white because that's what it looks like. You look out on a frosty morning as the frosting, there looks like a white fog that comes up. People will see that and they will jump to conclusions. And obviously they will then know of the history where a female died, and they'll say, that was the white, I've just seen the white lady.
Yeah. 10 out of 10, 10 points, gold star and a merit badge to Mr. Hutch.
Yay! Oh, did we not need like a round of applause there? No?
Well, yeah, we can.
Sorry, round of applause. There you go.
Anyway, the old Queen Mother was never alone in Glamis Castle, because at night time, apparently, there were hammerings and an old lady, I love this, who dragged a sack through the grounds at night, adding to the mystery of one of Scotland's most impressive castles. In actual fact, I have a theory on this, everybody.
Go on.
I actually think this is the Queen Mother herself. She's drunk, used to go wandering in the castle grounds at night, and it was like, oh, the old hag. She's like dragging her stuff through the grounds.
So you're saying that people saw the Queen Mother pissed as slightly inebriated. So this is what you're saying, Terry. The hag pulling whatever round was the Queen Mum, inebriated, wandering the gardens late at night while she's had a cup of sherbet dib dabs.
Yeah. Sorry, Lizzie, if you're listening, but your mother's an old hag.
Apologies to the Queen on that one. Do apologise, old Queenie.
But the thing was,
not old Queenie, young Queenie.
Everybody thought obviously the Queen Mother was like this old dear that was pickled on gin, but that was all down to Spitting Image.
I know it was. I know. Spitting Image had a lot to answer for, didn't it, really?
But what a great show. Yeah, what a great play. But I think a lot of these old type of ghost sightings that then became legends is misrepresentation of what people have seen, and then you tell a story. It's a bit like Chinese whispers. You say something and then the story then gets told to somebody else, they embellish it a little bit, and then it carries on until it's like, wahey!
Well, to be honest, that's like the Queen Mother herself, bless her, when she was alive. I mean, she had a penchant for ouzo and Club 1830 holidays, so it was all good.
Okay, how about Culloden Moor?
No, sorry. Kerry, I'm listening. How did you pronounce that?
Oh, I don't know. Culloden Moor?
Do you want me to pronounce it?
Go on then.
Yeah.
Culloden.
Culloden Moor.
Culloden.
Battle of
the most famous...
Battleground.
Famous. Apart from two other places in Scotland, Culloden is one of the most famous... It's basically the battle of the named families.
Yep.
But it really wasn't featured in Braveheart, was it?
But an Australian Scotsman, yes.
Yeah, but the problem is it technically was, because they had the clans, and it was the final resting place, final battle of all the clans.
Not William Wallace, though, was it?
William Wallace is a little bit further south, and he really didn't do much, William Wallace. It's sort of an urban myth.
Except, and I'm not going to lie, that kind of is the extent of my knowledge of Scottish history.
Well,
apart from no, Mary Queen of Scots, I'm okay on Mary Queen as well, but yeah.
Culloden is one of is world famous of the battle between the English monarchy and clan families.
Charlie.
Yeah, Bonnie. Yeah.
Prince
I don't like
William.
using Bonnie Prince Charlie because it sounds like he's Scottish and all that sort of stuff. But
So
technically, he came up with an army. They all met.
It
Had a
only
bit of a
lasted
fight.
about an hour, though, didn't it? Didn't last
And I
long.
must admit, it's another place I've been, and it is one of the most eeriest places I have ever been to, and I had a weird experience there.
Go on then. Tell us your weird experience, old Scottish
I'd
Highland touch.
flown up to Aberdeen to go and see some friends of mine who lived in Elgin, and they were working, so I had like 3 or 4 hours to burn. So I hired a car, and I was thinking, where am I going to go? Can't really drive down to Loch Ness or Fort William, so I thought I'd go to Inverness. As I'm driving towards Inverness, there's a sign saying Culloden. I thought, that looks quite good. So I pulled in and walked into the visitor centre. They said, well, you've got 40 minutes, you can go and see. So I went, okay, fair enough. So I wandered past the clan family stones all down one side, which has all the clan families. And then you can walk out into the battlefield on this like wooden bridge. And at one end, there's one flag. At one end, there's another flag. And there's all these different flags on this field. And each of the flags indicate...
Somebody's got a text.
Not me.
Sorry, carry on, Carl. Sorry, carry on.
And there's the big flag at one end, there's another flag that indicates which side they were. And then variously other little scattered flags around the field were indicating where the last of the clan fell or died or whatever. It's 20 minutes before closing. It's getting quite late, and as it does up there, the fog starts wafting in.
Wafting fog.
So it's quite eerie. So I'm standing on the bridge, leaning on it, thinking, oh, this is lovely. Yeah, nice. Look at this. And I hear noise behind me, so I turn round, and out of the mist comes this, what I initially thought, and absolutely shanted myself, as this figure comes out the fog.
I just need to anglicise that for you, everybody. Shit himself.
I didn't really want to swear on here, but out of the fog that comes rolling in comes this figure dressed in full Highland clan, like everything, the thing, the kill, the sword and everything. And I'm going, what am I seeing? And then in this Birmingham accent, he goes, we close in 5 minutes, mate.
Oh my God! Seriously?
Yeah.
That seriously would.
Yeah, but it was literally. I heard this noise. I turned around, and the fog was like lying. You know, the lowland fog that they get up there. So you saw this figure just walking out in the full get-up, sword and everything, and I'm like, I'm just seeing the Holy Grail. I'm seeing a full body apparition. And then the worst thing was he didn't even speak in a Scottish accent.
It was proper Brummy.
All right, mate. I can't do Brummy accent. We close in 5 minutes.
Oh, that's
Can you imagine
funny.
that? With the sun. All right, we close in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
In Scotland.
I have seen a Yorkshire Boba Fett once. Had me photo taken with a guy in full get-up, and I went, and he turns around and goes, shall I take both my guns out and hold them like that? Totally wet myself laughing, yeah.
It just kills the fantasy, surely, everybody. I'm going to do dress up, then at least embrace it fully.
If anybody's ever anywhere near Inverness, between Inverness and Elgin, go there. It's amazing. The Tourist Information Centre has some unbelievable interaction, like devices that you can look at, and wandering around the battlefield on the various different ramps they got going into, but walking along the stones that they've got laid into this wall, which has each of the clan's family, the names on the wall, is just unbelievable.
Nice.
Okay. So that's that. Right, what about Edinburgh Castle?
Edinburgh! Brrr. You gotta go brrr.
I can't.
You say Edinburgh.
Edinburgh Castle.
Edinburgh Castle.
I mean, I have to say, this is one of the most iconic images of old Scotland, isn't it? Edinburgh Castle. And I have to say, on my bucket list, Edinburgh is one of the places in Scotland I'd like to go to. Because of this, it is so iconic when you say Edinburgh. Straight away, your head is Castle on Tuthill, right?
Yeah.
And it was one of the first modern cities in Scotland to have the easy way of getting around it. So you had 3 main streets and then into junctions between the streets. So it was all done on a grid system.
Oh. I got invited to Edinburgh.
Like New York.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm back in Scotland in May, so...
Go have a look at it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have a few extra days.
It's all uphill, the castle.
Wow.
Well, to be fair, there's lots of hills in Scotland anyway.
No. The walk into the castle
is uphill.
From whichever
I've got a stair lift.
Yeah. You don't want to because there's some great places to stop.
Pubs.
And then carry walking on.
Pubs, you mean?
Places where they serve alcohol, yes.
Oh, that's okay then.
Let us know when you're going and we'll come along with you.
Yeah,
there's also
look there.
Amazing haunted locations on the walk up. There's this one pub on the windy road up to it, and it's set into like the side of the hill. Well, it's an old, so like a old distinguished. What's it called?
What's a pub?
You Bob?
He's thinking, everybody. He's sighing and thinking.
I don't.
Ramparts. Which are chucking words at the poor man now.
Just shout anything at me.
Anyway.
There's one pub on there which is like on 3 levels, and it's a bit like the pub in Nottingham, the old Jerusalem that's built into the cliffs.
Right, okay.
But this is on 3 different levels.
3-leveled pub?
Yeah, because it basically, what they've done is they've built it on a slant, and you go down into the cellar area where they've got a restaurant, and then you go up the bar, and then you got another bit, and it's like on a horizontal.
So basically, what they've done is they've taken like a massive crannicky hillock mountain thing, and they've built pubs, so you can literally go up per level to the top, buy pubs, so the higher you get, the more drunk you are.
Get to the top, get drunk, roll down the incline.
Well, you see, this is it. I was just thinking, surely that's a health and safety risk factor right there.
I know.
I don't believe that was the intention.
But it's kind of how it's sounding.
The reason the castle was there, it was like most things, like most castles are built in a position which is difficult to get to.
Yeah, and most like to be overlooking as well.
And it's a defensive position, so basically if they're coming uphill, you've got the high ground, bish bash bosh.
Isn't there meant to be underground tunnels in Edinburgh Castle?
Yeah, there's all that. And it still has an active military barracks there.
I know about the Piper, and I'd heard rumours about the tunnels, but I'm quite intrigued about that. Knowing about the tunnels and that. And which bit of Scotland has got the underground catacomby things?
I thought that was Edinburgh Vaults.
That's
Well, that's another thing.
Is that Edinburgh
Vaults, basically the same
Street Vaults?
Everything's
close. Yeah.
Edinburgh Vaults, it's between 2 bridges.
Yeah, I want to go see that.
Amazing. I want to go there. I got invited there for the Edinburgh Fringe Festival by a comedian, and I thought, nah.
Well, that's not actually in the castle, that's in the Wool Mill.
Well, that's like, surrounding area, isn't it?
It's at the bottom of the hill.
Oh.
So, but that means you'd have to walk up the hill.
Well, no, it wouldn't, because it's all at the bottom of the hill, so there ain't no hills involved with me. It's just like, there's just pubs and fun and comedy.
What I did when I went to Edinburgh a few times is there's this free bus service which takes you to all the sites, and you pay, I think it's £12, you get on the bus, and it will drive you around. So if you wanted to go to the castle, you sit on the bus, you wait for it to come round, buy the day ticket, you get to the castle, do your business. You want to go back to the Windmill, or you want to go back to the bridges or whatever, you just get on the back on this tour bus, and it takes you all around the Golden Mile, Greyfriars Cemetery, all the amazing locations, and you can just jump on, jump back off, so you don't need to do it.
You don't need to
I've got one
walk,
for you.
basically, up the hill.
No.
Sweet.
I've got one for you.
I'm with you on the bus. What? Come on then, Marcus.
The Sawney... Shut your face. You got the Sawney Bean cannibals, right?
Yeah.
Now, if they lived Edinburgh, and Edinburgh's got loads of hills,
Uh-huh.
and I take it these hills have chippies at the moment. So, is that what the horror movie The Hills Have Fries was based on?
Oh, my word. Oh, my word. Well, I have to say, scrolling down, we're in the last few minutes of the show, believe it or not.
That's just gone far too quick.
I know, but I can't leave Scotland without talking about the Roslin Chapel.
And the vampire with the metal teeth.
Yeah, but you've got to talk about Greyfriars Cemetery.
I want to talk about Roslin Chapel, everybody.
Okay.
That's where I'm going. I'm skipping
See,
lots
I
of
love
locations.
it when you get forceful like that. It
I know.
just makes me go all of a quiver. And
I know. That's what I have to say. That's one place I want to go to is the Roslin Chapel.
yeah, I'd like to go there as well because it's
No,
full
I've
the
never heard of
architecture
it.
inside. Roslin Chapel.
Yeah.
Oh, very famous, and it's got lots of. When you go inside it, if I remember rightly, it's got there's sculptures, not sculptures. What do you call it? On the pillars where they do the engraving and that from all. There's about 4 or 5 different religions, isn't there?
Whereabouts
Inside, and
Whereabouts-
the rumor of the Grail was supposedly kept there at some point by the Templars, wasn't it?
Allegedly. However, that was only popularised by Dan Brown in his Da Vinci Code.
where is-
True, but based on a legend, real legend.
Okay, for the fourth freaking time, where is it?
It's in
Scotland.
Roslin,
In Scotland.
in Scotland.
That's why it's called
France.
Roslin Chapel. The Rose Line, Roslin. It's in Roslin in Scotland.
The Rose Line is a really famous ley line that runs right through, basically from Scotland all the way through England, going down through France, going through down into the Middle East areas. Is that right?
Yep.
And
And
basically, they are saying that the bloodline of Christ ended
That's right.
up at the Roslin Chapel. But, as I say, that's a theory that was only popularised by Dan Brown in his Da
Bang,
Vinci
Grail.
Code. However, having said that, the actual Roslin Chapel itself is absolutely awesome in its own right. It has so much symbology carved into its walls. However,
Yes.
there has been stories that the first Crown Jewels of Scotland, the mummified head of Jesus was there, allegedly. There have been stories of spirits lurking within the chapel walls and surrounding area. And
Black Knight. There's a Black Knight.
The
isn't
Black
there,
Knight.
on his horse.
yeah,
See-
allegedly a black knight. There was also supposed to be another white lady. So much rumour, myth and legend surrounds the Roslin Chapel. It's worthy of a whole show by itself, isn't it?
To be honest, yes.
But I think we could only do it
Yes.
if we all went, so we would have to go.
I think so.
Well, that'd be a
yeah.
shame, wouldn't it?
That'd be a shame. I'm saying road trip.
Parasite,
that's exactly what I'm
stay
saying,
out.
yeah.
I know. I'm saying road
Dark
trip.
Mirror on tour.
It's when the Dark Mirror takes the road trip.
It's quicker on the
Oh
trip.
my God! It's quick on the train.
Yeah.
It
No,
is, in
it-
all fairness.
It
Yeah.
probably
It's
is.
a lot quicker and it's a lot easier.
It takes me 7 hours to drive to Scotland from here.
And it
That's
takes
to Edinburgh.
to get
Can't
to
we just
Edinburgh.
fly?
It's
Like
4.5
on an aeroplane.
4.5, 5 hours.
Well, you
from
wouldn't fly
London.
on a cat, would you? Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it yourself first here on the Dark Mirror Show. Kerry has just told us that fly on a plane. Yes!
Breaking
Well,
news.
My usual form of transport is obviously a broom. But maybe we should take the plane on this occasion. It's a little bit
So-
further than I normally fly.
So you're gonna make the broom redundant. And take an
I'm gonna
aeroplane.
retire the broom for this trip and actually go on a plane for a change.
Aw.
Well, actually, we
I'll
should
put
do
the
that.
Uber back in the cupboard then.
Yeah, and that's another story entirely.
Anyway, on that note,
I think we should do that. I genuinely think we should do that. We should go up there, up to Roslyn Chapel, and we should take lots of photos and write lots of things down, and we should do a show about it.
I think you're right.
Do a live show from there.
Well, we'll have to see what the Wi-Fi is like and whether or not they give us permission. But anyway, these are details we can sort out at another time. And on that note, we've actually come to the end of the show, believe it or not. Again, apologies for going live late. That was all thanks to my beautiful sister's birthday. Happy birthday, my sister. And we will be back in 2 weeks' time on the Dark Mirror Show. And we are talking about, right, on the 8th of February, which is the next Dark Mirror Show, it is the anniversary, believe it or not, of the Devil's Footprints that were first appeared in the snow in Devon. Now, I thought Devil's Footprints would make a good topic for a show. So that is what we will be talking about on the 8th of February when the Dark Mirror Show is back.
You have to do it with a Devon accent, a Devonian accent. So,
Ooh,
look, I saw the Devil's Footprints the other day. When he was, and I went outdoors and I saw him in the snow, and I went, "Flip me, a goat's been hopping around here." I tell you.
Okay, so that's how we're going to do the whole show next time we're on. In the meantime, we have got Mr. Carl Hutchinson doing a live Q&A tomorrow on the Parasearch Radio Facebook group page. Mr. Carl Hutchinson.
Yeah, and if you're lucky, ladies and gentlemen, I'll still have the kilt on.
Woohoo! He won't have got changed. So if you have any technical questions you want to ask, then this is the man to ask. He's waving fingers.
My Q&A, I should be able to say this. I don't want to be just asking questions on tech.
Oh, okay.
I want people to ask me questions about me, what I do, what I've done. I will obviously answer the tech questions, but anything you want to know about me, what I've done in the past, what's going on, technical, I will answer any questions like that. I just don't want to do an hour
tech.
Just on tech, because you just have to listen to the radio when I've done the shows and I've spoken about it. So just any question, any weird, even anything that is weird and wonderful that you want to ask, just ask away. I've already been sent 15 or 16 questions already.
What do you wear underneath the kilt? Stuff like that.
I will show you after the show. I will show you.
Well, now there is a bombshell. Anyway, Carl Hutchinson, 6:30 tomorrow night, Facebook group page, live and kicking. Ask him anything you want to, not just about tech. He's making it clear he will answer anything you want to ask him. He will answer. Okay, so 6:30 p.m, a note for your diary. Then on Sunday evening, I am back in the studio for the Spirit Dimension with the lovely Ashley Knibb and Sarah Chimacero. And we're talking, excuse me a second, we are talking all about their latest collaboration on the supernatural synchronicity that they're doing. So join us in the chat room for that fantastic discussion. On that note, it is now 2 minutes over time. We bid you a very farewell. Say good night, guys.
Good night, guys.
Good night, guys. Oh, aliens!
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.